Welcome to Championship Week. Big shout out to all the subscribers. This is my victory lap edition. In fact, this is our victory lap. This victory lap goes out to you and to you and to you and to you. It goes out to all of you guys because you guys made me better this season. I started off to just record a little bit about how to be better at fantasy and auction drafts in particular, and you guys pushed me to be better. All 100 plus of you, as you guys want to tune in and hit me with feedback, you guys made me do better. You guys pushed me to be good at it. I didn't want to just come on here and just spew trash. I didn't want to come on here and just be wrong and be full of nonsense. I wanted to be good. I wanted to help your fantasy teams. And this is the Victory Lap edition. We're at the end of the season. We're here now. This is championship week for most of you, I'm sure. This is my championship week right now. 5 of 6 of my auction teams made it into championship week. 5 of 6. I've survived a bye round. I made it through the second round. And now we're grinding out nitty-gritty championships. And I don't know. I'm taking the victory lap early. I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to win any of these championships, but with 5 shots at it and some juggernaut teams, I'm probably going to win a championship. So thank you guys. This is our victory lap. Thank you. Let's do it for doing this together. I mean, I didn't want to come out and tinker. You know, I have a lot of things. This is just going to be a disjoint smorgasbord episode where we just talk about the fantasy baseball season and what happened. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is that we drafted such high premium assets that I didn't do a lot of tinkering. I mean, obviously, I tinker with the bottom of the lineup. We've got to get on some hot hitters. We've got to get off. We've got to deal with injuries. But after that All-Star break hit and I stopped setting lineups and got back into it, it's kind of a set it and forget it, especially with pitching. And some of these teams worked out. So first, I want to talk about as you tinker with your lineups. I'm seeing some guys kind of softly owned in Yahoo. The rest of the season doesn't matter, and that doesn't matter. The numbers don't matter. I need it right now from players. I'm even calling out to the players. I need it this week. I need gems, bombs, bases. I need all of it this week. None of it matters. Ride the hot hand. Send guys in against bad pitching. Micromanage your team. Look at your starts. Look at the categories that you need. Pander towards that. Here's a couple names of guys that I'm jumping back on that wagon for the finish line in case you need to fill some holes. Oscar Mercado. Came up hot, cooled off a little bit. It's back. It's hot. It's hot. It's average. It looks like 5 categories. Mercado you can trust. My boy, your boy, all of our boys, Garrett Hampson. What a disappointment he's been all season. But you know what? He's hot right now. He's hot in the last 2 weeks. He's back up. I think I saw him hitting second the other week. Garrett Hampson in that middle infield. Plug it in. Steven Matz. If you still have time, Matz is going 2 starts this week. Don't mind that blow up that he just had in Colorado. That was the Colorado air. Steven Matz had gotten hot in the last 6 weeks. I'm going to run some Matz out there. Dinelson Lamet. You never know. You know, high Ks. Run him out there. Gavin Lux. The Lux. They got onto the luxury tax, and they got off of the luxury tax. But you know what? He's still playing, and he's figuring some things out. It's cat and mouse. He's making adjustments. Get some Gavin Lux. Go ahead. Plug him in. Ride it. Right? You don't know what you're going to get, but we don't know what we're going to get from anyone. So don't worry. Maybe some Gavin Lux. Woodruff is back. Woodruff isn't injured anymore. Pitcher in Milwaukee. He's throwing gas. The innings are low. I don't know if he's going to start, if he's going to go 4 innings, 5 innings. We get 1 week. Run some Woodruff out there. I trust in that. Obviously, big Kyle Lewis. And maybe we'll get back to a conversation about size. Actually, let's do it right now. Kyle Lewis is 6'4". I told you I like my players to be bigger. If we're just going on upside, if we're just wondering who to take and who not to take, lean big players. Here's another. Kyle Lewis is 6'4". He's hot right now. He's hitting. He's got the power stroke working. Ride it out. He's like 50 to 60% owned. When you're going to speculate going into next season, we speculate on 25 to 27-year-old big guys, 6'2 plus, because it starts to work out. Kyle Lewis, mashing. Andrew Benintendi, small, disappointing. How did it go with Mookie Betts this year? Well, is it my fault because I drafted a small player? Yordan Alvarez, big, masher. So I'm riding the big guys out there. Tyler Glasnow is back doing his filthy. He overcame the injury and the setback. He's doing filthy stuff. Maybe just run him out there for ratios and Ks. I can't tell you he's going to get you a W, but he's throwing the hard cheddar. Savale of the Cleveland Indians. I don't even know. The numbers look decent. I'm still running Keston Hiura out there. Get some Keston Hiura. Malik Smith. You've got to deal with Malik because he gets sit a lot. I notice he gets a lot of nights off, and it drives me crazy because I put him in, and I watch the lineup all day, and then all of a sudden he's sitting, and the games have locked, and I have nobody in. And he's been doing me dirty. But when he's in, he takes bases. So if you want to get some steals, maybe some Malik Smith in there. Rosario of the Mets. Average and the occasional base. I'm not going to delude myself into thinking the Cincinnati home run or the Colorado home run are a precursor of more home runs to come, but you might get some bases, and I don't think he'll destroy you in average. He's batting low in the lineup. Those are my couple guys that, at least from my teams, my 12-teamers, that I'm going out and tinkering with to fill some gaps, especially the Alberto Mondesi gap. It was an injury-riddled season, but you know what? I loved having him out there. He got 42 bases. He was a beast on the bases. And really the last thing, you start to get a little personal with these players. I'm in a playoff battle. It's categories. It's 5-4. We're going back and forth all week. Steals are 5-5. Alberto Mondesi came back, stole me one base, and then threw his shoulder out, and his season is over. That's okay, Alberto. You got me that steal. I took steal 6-5, and I moved on in that playoff round 5-3. He gave me all he could. He's a little bit of a fragile player right now. So, just talking a little bit about the league and how hard it is for these guys to make it. There's so many guys out there who were really good. They had great seasons, MVP seasons, and they're just not here anymore. They're not here, and they're going to let us down, and they're going to hurt our feelings. Mike Trout, great season. He's working really hard to do the numbers. Maybe he propelled you to the playoffs, but again, the whole season doesn't matter unless you're playing Roto, which I don't play. And maybe that's the frustration why people don't want to play head-to-head, because Roto makes them feel better on season-long numbers. But you have to get to the playoffs, and then you have to win in the playoffs, and that's where we are right now. Without Mike Trout, without Christian Yelich. Great season, great MVP season, Christian. You're a little slugger, you speedy little slugger. Fouled the ball off his kneecap, fractured kneecap, no longer with our teams. A lot of money invested to get a Christian Yelich piece. You're in the situation, and now you're missing your main cog. You're missing the guy who carried you all season. It hurts. It hurts. These guys are frustrating. Gary Sanchez, that's frustrating. You were expensive. We could mention the pitching. Pitching was, why you don't want to pay up. I got a couple examples. Corey Kluber, that's one example. Chris Sale, that's another. And how the pitching, how hard it was to navigate the season. The other thing is I really like to look at the starters on a season-long pace. I mean, once I decide and I buy a guy in the beginning of the season, I've got to give him a long leash. 26, 27 starts really isn't a lot of individual starts for them to refine their stuff. And if you look now, these guys that had the whole season, I just care about what have you done for me lately? Did you carry me through the playoffs? Are you on fire right now? Let's jump over right here. I'm just looking at last 30 days on Fangraphs, starting pitching, last 30 days, advanced metrics, and look at who really did it this year. Look at who's really been a beast. Right now, Garrett Cole, men amongst boys. He has sub-1 ERAs, sub-1 FIPS and XFIPS. He's dominating the league. He has a 15, nearly 16 K to B ratio. K per 9. He's been ridiculous. We had to pay up. I own 0 shares because he was going for crazy prices, but he's there. But let me move down the list. Darvish. Darvish was getting dropped in leagues. His rough start was a disaster. Justin Verlander, who we know has the stuff, who we know has flawless mechanics, he's up there. Eduardo Rodriguez, Clevenger's been hot. But here's a couple of the names that have been interesting. Jack Flaherty. One of my teams, somebody just dropped Jack Flaherty. And that's the other thing to really preparing in the preseason, knowing your values, knowing your players, is that when stuff hits waivers, when guys make mistakes and they drop guys to waivers that were $30 and $40 players, I'm just adding them to the team and waiting. I got a lot of Starling Marte because people just weren't willing to wait. Like, Marte's too good for that, and he got to carry me a little bit. I picked up a share of Jack Flaherty. Yeah, it was a really rough patch. What is he doing recently? This guy has a 28.2 K to BB ratio. The ERA is 1.5. The xFIP is a 3. The SIERA is a 3. He's walking nobody. 1.5 walks per 9. He's been an absolute beast. His game log is ridiculous. James Paxton, Mike Foltynewicz. Folty got sent down. Folty was down. Folty was injured. But Folty is back. Folty is so back in the fold. Adam Wainwright, the old man. Jake DeGrom. Shane Bieber. I talked so much trash about Greinke. His ERA does sit mid-4s. He's up here in the list. Steven Strasburg. But here we go. One of our guys, Zach Wheeler. Tried but true. Look at the game log. He's been hot. Patrick Corbin. Scherzer. Going down here, it's a little bit of a mess. Sonny Gray, Kelly, Tanaka, guys we couldn't deal with. Homer Bailey out of nowhere. Kobe Allard, Walker Buehler. 23rd pitcher on the list. Just to close out the season, Luis Castillo. Barrios, Michaelis. It doesn't get good. Gallen, Lance Lynn. Bumgarner's below there. So not a lot of guys made it through the season. That list is a mess. Pitching was so volatile this week. A guy could get hot, but when it was blow-ups, it was a 9 ERA. It was a 6. It's going to be temperamental. We need it this week from these guys. We're glad we have the younger players. The other thing with winning championship week and leaning towards hitting is that we want to win the counting stats. Hitting is going to go well at the end of the season because if they survive the grind, unlike Yelich and Trout, there's going to be worse pitching coming up, call-ups, guys getting a shot, guys getting rested. The teams that are out of it are using other pieces. They're mixing and matching. So these really good hitters get to take advantage of the sub-perfect MLB pitching at the end of the season. And so I like to be leaning hitting. I like to be taking advantage of those guys. This is not the time for me now to be just rolling crazy dice rolls on any arm or any start. Not now. Because you don't know who to trust. It's too late in the season. The hitters are going too well. My pre-playoffs workout was that I started sloughing a little bit of hitting off and getting the pitchers squared away, so I knew I was going to have Ks. I knew I could chase wins and Ks, and you just ride it out, just setting it and forgetting it. So that's out there, and I think we did a good job this season dealing with the juiced ball. The home runs were outrageous. The barrel rates, I haven't even looked at it historically. Again, I haven't moved on to next season. We just won 2 weeks of the playoffs of micromanagement. It's championship week right now. I don't have time to look at global statistics right now like all the podcasts are doing. I'm not doing 2020 mock drafts right now. So we're going to stick with what we got. We're going to have to get back and figure that out. But we survived it because we didn't lose our minds and put a premium on pitching. And hopefully people don't do it again next year and start talking about how their pitching sucked and they try to pull it together next year. This is the Victory Lap show. We'll take some. Luis Castillo, it went well. It went decently. A couple of these guys, Paxton, Flaherty, the mid-tier guys, Strasburg, Wheeler, we knew who to get in on. Corbin, it wasn't perfect. Walker Buehler, it was a slow start. But there were some gems mixed in there. There were some 11K 1.5 ERA, 7-inning gems along the way. I got in on some Max Fried, even though Sleeper and the Bust and the Fireside Chat wanted to relentlessly tell me they didn't trust Max Fried. You had to look at the stuff. You had to look at the shape of the pitching and the bend. So we're going to keep moving along with it here. Let me see what else I have for you. Closers, let's just talk about it for a second. How did Doolittle do for us this season? Not good. Where's Craig Kimbrell? Who's the closer in? Is it Thielen? Is it Thielen, the guy at the A's? How'd it go? We thought he was going to dominate the league. It wasn't great. But the guys who just hung in there, bottom of the barrel options, Will Smith, Alex Colomé. You know, you picked a little smattering of those scrubs and you just worked through it and somebody emerged. I mean, even Edwin Diaz, who I was crazily high on. Leclerc, so high on. Hand. I mean, these guys had a rough go of it this year. You cannot be paying on closers. It does not work like that. You know, maybe Yates was the guy, but how did I know? How would I pick Yates out of all those guys that were so filthy last year? And to have it work out when just Colomé just chugging along. You know, I want to go back. I want to get a shout out to our boy Fernando Tatis Jr. You know, a couple of these guys on our victory lap session here. Ronaldinho Acuna. Have you looked at his numbers this season? 100 runs, 100 plus runs, 41 bombs, probably nearing 100 ribbies, 38 bases, hitting 285 category galore at 21 years old. It was crazy. But you know what? We're not getting him anymore. That's a $65 player. That's a $70 player. The days of getting him for 40, they're over. They're done. They're done. We're not getting him for that. He's going to go first, and he's going to go for the most money. It's going to be sad. We're going to have to dig it back out. I'll take a victory lap for everyone, because I didn't hear a lot of people talking about Pete Alonso. I feel like I was the only person that can honestly say, go back to the videos. Did I not mention Pete Alonso? Did I not get on that wagon? I mean, the moment that he was nibbling at a starting role, it was Pete Alonso. He's all over the place here. It didn't take me that long to just get some Pete Alonso and put him at the first base. I mean, people weren't like, what's happening? Are we sure? Is it fluke? I mean, he's at 50 home runs. It's been crazy. But getting back to the shout out, Tatis Jr. And this is going to be kind of sick. Obviously, I wish he was still going and going hard. He looked phenomenal this season. And then he had the back injury. And really the only real glimmer, positive, silver lining that I can get from the Fernando Tatis Jr. injury is it's going to depress his next year value. His counting stats and his numbers hopefully just muddy into the mix, and he gets overlooked and he falls in round speak to the third or the fourth round or something. Just get him out of the first round where he belongs. I mean, I was trying to think, oh my God, how high am I in Tatis Jr.? I mean, it's in my mind, it's outrageous. But again, I haven't reviewed the numbers. Too bad for Tatis. I mean, these are the pieces. If anything, in-season management is just the rise and the fall of players, the up and the down. I got to tell a little tale here. I got to go back because you guys might be the only ones who care. On Friday, September 20th, in the Yahoo Winners League, in the second round of the playoffs, I was down 2-6. I had written it off. I've never won one of the Yahoo Winners auctions. And I want it. I want to win one of those because it's more competitive. Again, the auction draft strategies, if it's just a so-so room, I'm going to dominate them. It's going to be gross. I came in first. I have crazy win totals. But the competitive leagues, our league, our video league, the YouTube league, very competitive. I didn't dominate that league. The Yahoo Winners League, very competitive all season. It's harder to dominate, so you are going to have to play up to talent. But this is my little fantasy miracle tale for you. I'm coming in 2-6 into a Friday. I'm setting my lineup. I go out. I grab a Dylan Cease, and I experience a fantasy miracle. I go and I check my phone. I'm up 7-3. What could have possibly have happened to put me up 7-3? On this day, on the day in question, Pete Alonso, home run, 2 RBI jack. Alberto, 2 bases and a run. Yoan Moncada went yard. Trey Turner went yard twice. Kyle Turner went yard. Vlad had a ribby. And I was like, but still, 7-3, how is this possible? I almost can you guys see this? I almost just want to show you this. This is what a fantasy miracle looks like in pitching. Mike Fulton-Nelix, 8 innings of a 0 with 7 Ks. Bieber, 7 innings of 2.45. Luis Castillo, 7 innings, 7 Ks of a 3. J.A. Happ, 5.1 innings of a 3. And Dylan Cease, who I streamed, 6 innings of 1.5. Fantasy miracle. I destroyed that person. I didn't look back. Oh my God. It felt so good when the pitching goes right. And those are some of our guys. Are you kidding me? Shane Bieber, Castillo, Fulte, just delivering it, and then a youngster. Oh my goodness. So I wanted to get some of that out there. I mean, Juan Soto. What? He was taking bases. Did anyone expect bases? It's out of control. The first thing I want to do, I was going to do a little team review. But I've got to shout it out right here. In the YouTube league, it came down. California Waves won the league. This is the SD connection, which I like because after college I spent about 5 to 6 years in San Diego, California, and it has a special place in my heart. And somehow the YouTube league, we reconnected with some of the boys out in San Diego. California Waves won the league with 126 wins to 88. I came in third at 119. But he lost in the first round of the playoffs. Good season, California. You were the favorite, dog. You were the favorite. And somehow, you never know. It's the playoffs. Don't be mad. But your boy, OB Longballers, him and I are meeting in this championship. And OB, honestly, OB, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you with that PB life. Straight out of Shore Club, straight out of the Firehouse. I love OB. I have a lot of respect for the culture over there. I've actually maybe never had more fun than when I rode to OB. But it's me and you in the playoffs this season. Me and you for all the marbles. And I'm going to be tinkering. I'm going to be tinkering daily. So I hope you get out to a jump. And good luck to you, OB. I'll be looking for you. So we had that going. I hope to get some more leagues going next year. Everybody who jumped in that first league, you guys will automatically get into it. We'll do it again next season. Let's keep it going. That was a lot of fun. We'll get into the next one. DailyJLee OB Longballers for all the marbles. And it's like, I have one team to talk about here. I've got the 6 teams. There were 6 separate auctions. And in each auction, I tried to do something a little bit different. And there was at one point, I tried to get AC. Remember trying to get really AC and spending up on pitching? I named that team Hard Ched for Hard Cheddar. And all season, it just kind of didn't feel right. It didn't exactly work because some of the pitchers that I thought were elite let me down, particularly Block Ice Snow. I didn't exactly have the premium bats that I needed, and that was the team that did not pull it out in the playoffs. They just did not necessarily have the bats. My other conclusion, given that I do have a different mishmash of players for each team, is that it all kind of worked. It all worked to different degrees. I mean, my No Country team, let me just list some of these teams that I'll never get again because they're so gross. The Reese Hoskin, Trevor Story, Acuna, Eloy, Soto, that kind of team. Jordan, Marte, Mondesi. I got Correa off waivers. We pulled it out. The usual suspects at pitcher: Wheeler, Castillo, Lucchesi, Michaelis. It didn't matter. That team made the playoffs. No problem. They're set. And I feel like just showing you guys, because sometimes what if I was just blowing smoke at you? If I just wasn't serious. So the Hard Ched team, going for too much pitching, it was just a little bit, not No country. It was the youngsters. It was the Soto Acuna team. We're going for a championship. That's how we're going to do it. Tools Factory. Let's just show it. Just because I wouldn't want to be telling you guys that I'm making this up. That's the Tools Factory. That's the Yahoo Winners League that I plan on going and taking down finally this season. Is that team stacked? Pete Alonso, Yoan Moncada, Turner, Hoskins, Vladdy, Matt Olson with Folty, Wheeler, Bieber, Castillo, Soroka, Zach Gallen, Lynn. I mean, that team's solid. That team's solid. Sure, we might get it done. But this team, my goodness. This Drilly Wonka team, this team was in control all season. Drilly Wonka, 146. I mean, if I don't win this league, that will be a shame. That will be an absolute shame if that doesn't lead to a championship. That Drilly Wonka team, come on. Let me just tell you who's on this lineup. It sounds absurd when I read it. Pete Alonso, Garrett Hampson, because of the Mondesi injury. Machado, Story, Harper, Acuna, Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Lewis, Jimenez, Hira, and Seager. With Corbin, somebody let me get my hands on Flaherty. I have closers, Smith, Martinez, Chapman, Bieber, Matz, Castillo. Somebody traded me Syndergaard for Hoskins in the middle of the season. That team was bonkers this year. So that's how sometimes auctions can go well. DailyJLee, I showed you that one. My last draft of the season. And I'm going to blame competition on this. I did this right before the end of the season. And I think the real reason I did this was just to get a piece of Cody Bellinger. But come on, Soto deep. 151 wins, 113. I mean, this has been a cakewalk of a league for me. Again, Pete Alonso, Yoan, Devers, Hampson because of Mondesi, Ronaldinho, Kyle Lewis, Soto, Bellinger, Vlad, Yordan Alvarez, Oscar Mercado. I have Darvish on this team. I probably got off of waivers. Soroka, Matz. I'm using Leclerc here. Castillo, Dallas Keuchel off of waivers. So those are some of the teams. I think I showed them all to you. This was our victory lap. Thank you guys for being into it. And I'm going to be back because it's one thing yeah, I did good, but I think I could be a little bit better. There's always room to get a little bit better. And I probably will start when fantasy football is over. Whether we do basketball, I don't know. Do people do basketball? Do people care about basketball? DFS? As a little segue, football is already frustrating me. It's already annoying. I'm just gonna segue into a little commentary that the Supreme Court of the United States legalizes gambling so that everybody across the country is doing DFS, saying that it's a sport of skill. It's not. It's not. Football is just so hit or miss. It's so ridiculous. You just lost so many quarterbacks. I don't need to do the list. You lost them. So now all those wide receivers suffer. And then, Tyreek Hill goes down and you suddenly think that, McCole Hardman is just going off for yardage. You'll plug him in. He'll probably do nothing. You got Lamar Jackson hooking up with Marquise Hollywood Brown one week, and then it's quiet the next week. It's just hit or miss. I don't really think it's necessarily skill, and it just getting into the gambling bug. I'm already ready for it to be over. I have a couple teams. I don't like to wait all week. Yardage is funny. It's a breakaway play league. I mean, in basketball, the best players get the rock, and they go and they score until they can be stopped, and then can they pass out of double teams. It makes some sense. Baseball's been 160 games, 182 games. They're getting a lot of reps. They're playing and hitting every day. The numbers can come give me something. Football is like broken play, 80-yard touchdown, no carries. You play the Dolphins and, running like crazy, and then the next week you don't, and it sucks. Bye weeks, defenses. It's already annoying me a little bit. We might do basketball because, honestly, I'm very good at predicting basketball outcomes. So there's a chance of that. Big shout out to all the subscribers. OB Longballers in the championship. Come and get it, OB. This is PB right here. Pacific Beach, West Coast, Southern California. Holler back, boys. Holler. I'll see you soon.